Howdy folks, it's Johan, your favorite little ink blob, back at it today with some more magic. I'm gonna be noodling around in standard and probably messing around with a blue-white deck because I haven't done Azorius Control pretty much at all since I started playing Magic over 10 years ago. It's not my style, but know thy enemy and all that. Just taking a quick look at Premier Remix Draft. Interesting. Focused on artifacts? Well, at some point, I will have built up the requisite 10,000 gold because I need to try and win enough gems so that we can get the mastery pass. So, might check that out. But not today. Today, we're going to be messing around a bit with blue-white control, Azorius control. Been noodling around yesterday. We were playing around with Doppelgang, trying to make that work, and I don't think that even the UW blue white. It's a slightly strange way of denoting it, but basically, since both blue and black are colors in Magic, and both start with B, isn't it UV? um, basically, since both of them start with B as the abbreviation, for some reason they went with U for blue. I'm guessing it has something to do with because UE is in it. But yeah, so that's just sort of the abbreviation. White U, so white, blue, black, red, green. Wooberg is how it's typically done. Ultraviolet. Perfect. Yeah, so I've been noodling around with some stuff. I've been having a fair bit of fun with this domain ramp deck that, I don't know, I think this is one of the few sort of mid-rangey strategies that can kind of exist mid-range for the uninitiated. Howdy, Uno. Just sort of referring to playing cards that do more than cards normally do. The way a mid-range strategy wins is by simply playing a bunch of cards that drown your opponent in value. So everything does a little bit more than theirs do. Been having a lot of fun with that. It's kind of been my first attempt at doing best of 3, because then you get to do sideboarding and whatnot, so you can sort of adapt your strategy between games to your opponent. So we might mess around with that a bit more, but big thing is blue-white control. I do not know how to play this very well. I've played like 4 matches with this list. I don't think it's correct, actually. I should probably cut the unstable glyph bridge, and I think add in... It's either Celestis or Celestis, and I'm usually really terrible at figuring out... I'm really bad at hearing the difference in sounds of, like, stressing particular syllables, so I don't know if it's Celestis or Celestis, but it's one of the few ones where I can tell there's a difference, and I don't know what's right. But yeah, so blue-white control. I'm a little lighter on some of the single target removal than other lists, just because I didn't want to commit too hard with my collection to it. Domain, that's more my speed. Blue-white control, not as much. Howdy, Vim. How's it going? We're doing some Magic. I'm playing around with a blue-white control list, which, despite having played Magic for like over 10 years, I have not done a lot. This is not my style very much. So we're a little lighter on, we're a little bit lighter on like single target removal than a lot of lists, but we've still got a fair number of sweepers, counter magic, and card draw. Basically, the game plan with blue-white control is to not let your opponent play magic for long enough that you can eke out just a bit of value with things like the Wandering Emperor and Teferi's Pilgrim, which are planeswalkers that let you sort of just put out small creatures to slowly bleed your opponent to death, death by 1,000 cuts, all that. You play a fair number more lands than normal. We are running, I think, 30 lands. No? Okay, 27. typically you run 24, but we want to just hit land drops, make sure our opponent doesn't stick anything that can murder us, and then just chip away at them. So let's give this a shot. I have played 4 games with this deck. I'm trying to figure out how it works because I'm typically on the other end of the table and want to understand how to murder it better by learning how I get murdered. Julio. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Well, we've got some card draw, we've got lands, and we've got good ways of shutting down early aggression. So I will happily keep. I think we'll run out the pain lands first. Or at least one of them. Oh! Opponent is trying out mono green, which is very interesting. Mono green is a deck that I love a lot, but hasn't done very well in the current environment because a lot of folks are running these cards that basically kill all of their creatures, and green has a lot of trouble trying to recover from that most of the time. Because I've tried to make a deck very similar to this work, and it's really hard because people just murder it. And I think so we do lose our own clue token, but I think it's better to just slam something down, because that's another, like, 5 damage, possibly 6 at least. We do deal 2 damage to ourselves, but slows them down a wee bit, and we've got some other follow-ups. Ah, okay. On the bright side, we don't get hit too much worse by that, because it slows both of those down. However, this turn, we can redo that, or we can try and dig for another land so that we can Sunfall, hopefully hit more things, and we get a creature out of it, and they can't just blow up the enchantment to get their stuff back. This just exiles everything. So that we can, like, return one of them to their library and then also draw, I think is probably reasonable. Blue-white has a lot of options in a different way that I'm used to. I'm very used to, like, options in combat math, not very used to options in whatever I play. Ah, Axebane Ferox, okay. So, that is definitely spooky. So what we do is we draw a card, see what we hit. We do hit a land, so we will be able to... Ooh, okay. So we're taking 11 here, drops us to 5. But we get to hit all 3 things permanently, and we'll get a 3/3 out of it, so I think we actually just take the damage rather than trying to tuck something. We draw an extra card. We say ow. We slam a Sunfall, we take 1 more damage, which does hurt. Pain lands kinda suck. So, mana bases are a very tough thing in Magic, but basically these are lands that give us the 2 colors that our deck plays, if we let them deal a damage to us. So it's sort of this principle of, it lets us make sure that we can cast the things to hopefully stay alive, even if these will slowly kill us. Okay, so we've got 5 mana. Does 6 mana actually help us if we play out the Murex? No. Yes. Yes, it does, because it lets us No More Lies, flip this, and... okay. So... yeah, we'll pass the turn. Bum, bum, bum. Opponent thinking. Okay, let's start by flipping this and seeing if we can trade for the Kodama. And then we can try tucking the Horned Lock Whale. And yes, this doesn't actually cause us pain, because we use the untapped blue source and then the colorless that this can produce. Yay! Okay. And nothing to counter. And now we've got a Wandering Emperor, so we're feeling a lot more comfortable here. We will pass the turn. Green Beast Collar, we don't actually get to counter. Here, I think we Horned Lock Whale. It's gonna hurt us a little bit, but green doesn't typically have stuff for, doesn't have as much for, like, doing direct damage. I do want to play this out, even though this can be used to kill something, because we want to stop hurting ourselves with our own lands. Here, I think we just... actually, I think we can afford to hit on in, because we've got counter magic, and we also have a Wandering Emperor to get rid of something. Okay. It's definitely risky, but I do want to just start setting a clock. Okay. Got something else for us? Because now they attack, and then we can Wandering Emperor, exile it, and we gain a little life. Yay! Deal with something. Be further from death. Things that we like to be doing. Oh. Interesting. We will Memory Deluge and dig then. Sunfall, not bad. And I think Deduce gives us something else to do with our mana, even though we kind of wanted to grab a land there. And we can make a little 1/1. Second Wandering Emperor. Intriguing. Well, what I think we do is we attack with both, and then we can temporary lockdown, and that does get rid of our might, but it gets rid of both of their things as well. And if it's an Archdruid's Charm, we can counter it with No More Lies. On this turn, we wouldn't be able to next turn, but that's, I think, okay. Yep, they block. No sweat. Because this only hits things that are mana value 2 or less. This is 6, so it's fine and fancy free. And we beat mono green. Blue-white control is always a hard matchup for a deck like that, because they play creatures, and they try and accrue value, they try and snowball, and we are very good at preventing things from snowballing. Taking the turn to get their 2 creatures back. Not a bad deal, but that's a turn that they aren't hitting us, it's a turn that they aren't playing more to the board and making it even more threatening. Okay. Land. It's sketchy, but we'll try it. Ooh, Field of Ruin, okay. So this is Boros. We pass, and hopefully we get them to commit to tapping it down, and then we march it. Because this only cares about the mana cost, so however many resources they sink into it, we can just Zod it for 2 mana. Although, I guess we could also just temporary lockdown. That hits more of their board. And keeps this spell. Yep. they aren't hitting us, so we will happily temporarily lock down that next turn. We can deduce this turn. Which, yeah, that is a little awkward, right? We hit our own clue token, which means this is just sort of cantripping, but... So that's something that is maybe a little nombo, but it's sort of necessary evil to try and make sure that we can cope on any degree against a Boros deck. And I think we typically get enough value that we don't mind too much. Okay, they've got a Mirax. Mirax is one of the spookiest things for our deck against what the opponent's doing. So this will attack for 4 this next turn. I think we can afford to run out the Celestus, because that helps us. We can play a Sunfall this next turn if needs be. They could Gleeful Demolition destroy it, but I don't often see people doing that. I often didn't, just because I figure they're going to make the land drop anyway, but maybe that's a weakness, right? I think I would be much unhappier for them to destroy my Celestus than I would be for them to, you know, find a way to poop out a bunch of 1/1s. Okay, we take a damage, they gain a life and a blood. Ooh, okay, tapping out, refilling their hands. But we will get to make... We get to kill everything that they just put out, and then also make a 5/5. And they won't get the bat because we exile this. Regal Bunnicorn. Intriguing. I'm very scared for when Outlaws of Thunder Junction comes out, and we get the instant speed Wrath. Like, it's more expensive than you necessarily want to run, but being able... It's got some versatility as well, and being able to Wrath on their turn is going to be horrifying. Another Warden. Not the spookiest. The Bunnicorn is actually scarier, but we can use a Wandering Emperor to deal with it. We'd love a land so that we can Emperor and make this token a creature, but we will see. We do not, so we are a little stuck on mana, but... okay. We won't get the benefit of it this turn, but the Celestus flips by us just simply passing. So we draw a card and gain a life. I think we pitch the Deduce. Even though it is more card draw, I think the rest of this interaction is going to be important for us. Another Warden. Okay. That is a little scarier since they can eventually gain Vigilance, which is harder for us to deal with. They cannot pay for this. I think we're going to take a pretty big hit, although, actually, I suppose we could March of Otherworldly Light the Regal Bunnicorn, but we really kind of want to use the Wandering Emperor for that. Okay, because we really want to hit this. This is still 4 damage, so it's only 2 fewer damage if we hit the Warden. But even then, do they attack with it? Because we can just flip up the Phyrexian to kill it? So, never mind. I guess we could also flip and then march exiling an Emperor to hit it, but I think we can just accept the 6 damage. And then we trade. Nah, I'm just gonna take 6. I think we can afford it. We might not want to activate it right now, in case we pull a Wrath, but... Okay, we will discard the Deluge, because we can recast it from our bin eventually. Okay, there's another source that doesn't deal damage to us, which is nice. So now we can hold up Emperor and March for 1, which I think solves all of our problems pretty well this next turn. So I'm actually going to get Frisky and attack, which should make the opponent nervous. This is a case where I would typically chump, assuming that there was some sort of Wrath incoming. Which we're okay with, because there isn't one incoming. As we have cleaner single-target answers for it. Haha! We will draw a card. I think we pitch the Wastes, because Deserted Beach will come in untapped and does not hurt us. Bum, bum, ba, 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 bum. It's a very lovely day outside. I know I say this quite a bit, and you can't see anything, but oh no. Considering that I used to stream from literally under my bed, it's very nice to look outside and see a lovely blue sky, birds and trees, things are in bloom. It's quite pretty. Alright, they scry to the top. Nerve-wracking. Alright. Oh, they're nervous. I wonder why. So we need to be careful about how this taps. So, we get a white from here. Come on, auto-tapper, don't screw us. And then we will take 1 damage. But don't worry, we gain back some life. We kill the Regal Bunicorn, which feels horrible. I mean, he's just a little guy. We submit 0, and then we exile the big flying vigilant threat, because Wandering Emperor requires that the thing be tapped for us to be able to kill it. Got Deserted Beach. And Wandering Emperor probably dies anyway, so I think I'd rather just attack on in. And if they try and do some like tapping shenanigans, we can actually, and then attack early. We could run out the second Wandering Emperor, blanks their attack, it's going to die anyway, and we get to actually kill the Warden of the Inner Sky. So, it won't die this turn, but actually, we can kill the Emperor to exile this on our turn, because it's still tapped. Which lets us do Memory Deluge this turn, dig deeper. Interesting. Okay, Imidane's Recruiter can definitely be a threat. Because it can give things haste. They also could have done that this turn to kill the Emperor and smack me for 5, but they didn't. Because they really want to maximize that. Okay. Get Lost. It's a good piece of removal, instant speed. We've already got another Emperor. So I think actually the Horned Lock Whale might do more for us. Could have also taken the Deluge, but we do have a very active threat that we're dealing with. We will pitch the island. Draw for turn. Igonjo. Not the worst. Yep, I think we exile the Warden while we can. We gain some life. They... Imidane's Recruiter. I guess we could have taken the Dissipate to counter it. That would have been smart. I don't think with counterspells, but yeah, we could have taken that so that we can guarantee that the Imidane's Recruiter doesn't hit the field and pump the team. But this way we can get lost and do some stuff. I think we'll still be okay. No attacks. Because we can Emperor, Get Lost, and Horned Lockwhale. I think we'll ditch the Murex. I did consider running some stuff like Lauren of the Third Path and other things that can kill artifacts and enchantments in Boros for a while, just to like deal with temporary lockdowns and some very big scary enchantments, but I think this is just a good enough game plan that diluting it just makes it so much worse. Oh, interesting. So they are playing the long game with it. I think we just spit out a 1/1. And yeah, okay, hold up. If it's night, it becomes day, otherwise... Oh, only as a sorcery, okay. I thought that was better than it was. Also, that's going to be a bigger attack. Oh, they did have a Cavern of Souls, which we can pop with Field of Ruin, so that's something I should have done this past turn. Although Murex could also be a problem, but we just hold, hodl. I think we're still in a decent spot. We would have loved a sweeper there, but we've got a lot of good single target removal. Plus a pretty big blocker. Punching themselves. Okay. That is a very, very wide attack. That will happen. But yeah, I believe we still survive this. Because we have... Yep, we have 8 mana up, so we can deal with 3 things and block 1. So, we block there. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 for Wandering Emperor. We will exile the Imidane's Recruiter. We can Horned Lockwhale, tuck one of the tokens, which just kills it. So we're taking 6, 8. So 6, 8, 10, 12, and then we get rid of this one. They do get some map tokens, but that is alright. We will gain a life, draw a card, get lost. Not bad. I think we prefer that over the Iganjo. Quick study can draw us some cards, see if we can get anything else. But I believe we just have lethal on the board. The benefits of secret little creature lands. Phew. Okay. Huh. See, so I got up, not last month, but back in February, I got to number 800 with Boros, and these were the kinds of matches that I hated, so now I get to be on this side of it, and I can understand the fun, but dear lord. That was also not... I don't think that was a particularly miserable match for the opponent, because they still got to play Magic, right? They're still doing stuff. We happen to have enough answers to deal with it. Queston guy. I want to pronounce that like Preston. Queston. Okay. We've got probably fewer lands than we would like. Blue-white mirror match or against Esper 44 minutes, 2 in total for 44, just to lose. Yeah, that sounds about right. That's part of why I'm not very much of a control player. Mid-range, I love. I built the domain deck after stream. I'm absolutely digging that. But I want to understand I want to understand this side of the field, even though it is not my speed. I like having all of those options to do stuff on the opponent's turn, but dear lord, I think this is keepable. Enters tapped, but we don't really need anything for his turn, so we've got some counterspells, we've got ways to draw. I think this is doable. How's it going, Sorius? Mono faces Kakazan. So mono red. We're getting all of the aggro matchups. Which I think is honestly what blue white kind of prefers. Because you're typically pretty well suited for dealing with what they're putting down. Although we don't really have a Wrath, which is not great. We probably counter spell whatever they play here if it's... I think the Swift Spear... Well, that's tough. So, like, this is what I don't know well yet. Because we could dig, try and hit a temporary lockdown and hit everything, which would be more devastating. But we could also try and counter this, which saves us some damage in the short term. Like, this is a side of the table that I don't know, so I need to learn and make mistakes. I feel like saving up so that we can try and get more value and deal with all of the threats, because we already need to deal with them anyway, is probably better. But I don't know. Okay. We don't get anything by going to 3 mana, so we'll run out the Restless Anchorage. And then Horned Lock Whale something? Lightning Strike, okay. I do prefer them. Ooh. Yeah, I think we still take that because this gives us more flexibility if they, like, put a Rage onto something. Okay. Yeah, oh, this is bad. We're probably just dead there. I sense that they've got the Rage in hand. I would feel like tucking Felden, but the land is probably more of an issue because even if we draw a temporary lockdown, the land will just kill us next turn. So I think we bounce the land, hope we survive at 1, which seems unlikely. Yep, there's the Monstrous Rage. Okay. Nice. So, feels like I should have countered the Swift Spear there. Just trying to disrupt them. But they had the extra 2 mana open, so I figured that they probably had some sort of follow-up play that would be more impactful. But, yeah, I don't know. Frost Flavor. It's typically I'm fairly good at spotting in combat when I would be sad if the opponent made the attack that I am considering making. Even if I don't know everything in their hand, I can typically kind of get the vibes of that. I really don't know the vibes of whether I'm more scared for them to counter something or to go digging for something to answer more. But, I mean, that's what I've seen of how I've managed to win against control is the opponent not having it, right? Just being fast and the opponent not having the answer at that critical turn before they get the whole setup engine going. This feels less keepable because we can bounce something early, but we aren't doing anything. We aren't doing a whole bunch. Temporary lockdown, I like having. I think I pitch field. And let's see what happens. Interesting, so probably the Jeskai control build? Yes. Seems likely. Well, so our temporary lockdown not going to do anywhere near as much this time around. I don't have Jaces in this deck, so the control mirror is definitely tougher. Because that seems to be like the big control versus control counter, or tech. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. is being able to just mill them out with Jace. Okay. Like getting the Emperor, but if they tap out for a Deluge or something, we will Deluge in response so that they can't counter. So this is what people mean by draw go, isn't it? Because we don't want to run our Deluge into a counterspell here. But we are behind, since we just missed a land drop. So is that a case where you Deluge on your turn to try and make the land drop? I feel like no, but maybe? Well, let's try Deluging on their turn. I'm sure this gets countered. Probably no more lies, so it gets exiled. Yep. That's very rough. But we do hit a land this turn, and I almost feel like we just try running out a Wandering Emperor, hoping that they don't have a second counterspell. Okay, they're using it as an opportunity to Deluge, so I think they're probably ahead at this point. But yeah, like, this is not a form of Magic I'm used to. Like, I like being proactive there, but I feel like it was probably wrong to try and fire off that Deluge, because, you know, they have the counterspell, but we needed to try and dig, try and do something, it felt like. Okay. At least now we've got Murex going, so we can start using our mana that way. We could try and sneak in Teferi here, but I suspect they've still got counter magic up. Let's go for it. Opponent. It makes it through. And I think we actually just used Teferi to draw a card, since they seem to be very bolt happy.
Much to consider.
And so now Teferi has replaced itself at the very least. They might have, with the red, they could have burned down the house, I guess, which could really mess up Teferi. But I think I'll feel relatively, not amazingly, but relatively safe trying to create one of them Vigilant 2/2s this next turn. Especially if we hit our land drop. But I don't want to overextend more Planeswalkers. We might try... I guess we can Deluge while we know they're tapped down. Because I guess they could have, like, Spell Pierce or something. That feels like a play with fire, since they were waiting. They still had priority for some reason. But that wouldn't be a counterspell, because that was an ability, and I don't think there's a 1-mana Stifle in this format. So yeah, let's run that. Why didn't it tap the Murex there? I think the Deduce is more valuable than a Sunfall in this matchup, since neither of us are very big on creatures that can get Wrathed. Ah, right, I forgot. So that's why they go Jeskai, is because of Zurgo and Ojutai.
Just keeps getting worse.
Oh? Is that referring to you or an opponent? Oh, okay, nice. It's always fun stealing stuff and then beating the opponent with their own thing. Okay. They hit the main phase Emperor, but then we can get Lost, the Zurgo, and Ojutai. They do get maps, we get less value, so maybe I should have done it the other way around. Bounces your portal, I counter his counter portal, comes back, I just slam it and kill his Hull Breaker. Nice. Yeah, I was trying to mess around yesterday. It did not work out very well. I kind of should never see the light of day, but I was like, oh, what if you used like Vanifar and Yaris, and then the like 2 damage vampire wrath spell at instant speed to kill a bunch of disguised and cloaked creatures and flicker them back, because you could also do that with like a portal to Phyrexia. It doesn't work well. It was an interesting concept. It's very bad. Yep. Sometimes you get into desperation mode and there's not much that they can do. Or they get into desperation mode and there's not much they can do. Yeah, I don't know. I have not liked the build as much. But I typically, when I was playing the Boros deck, yeah, if you're Demir, I think it's good for the blue-white matchup, somewhat, but I don't know, it's... Typically speaking, when I was playing Boros, I was a lot happier to be up against Jeskai than blue-white, is my general take on it. Okay, trying to grow it. Yeah. We've got another Zergo. Okay. So we will try the Deluge. Actually, let's try the big Deluge. Yes. Which I think is part of why... they did have the Dissipate. I think that's part of why trying to make Massacre Girl work just isn't as good as you would like it to be, or at least as I would like it to be. Just because, most of what you're trying to do is direct target, and that's sort of the benefit. Murder, Hero's Downfall, or whatever. Oh, it's like Murderous Rider, I think, is quite good. And, I don't know. I think because Murder is generally very good in limited formats, I suspect that a lot of newer folks kind of assume that it must also be good in constructed as well. It's a trap that a lot of new players seem to fall into, of figuring that things that have restrictions or downsides must not be as good because there's situations where they don't work out how you would like. So we'll Deluge. We are definitely behind in this game. We'll take a Devious cover-up. Then I think we... do we try and temporary lockdown? I think the answer is no. I think we just chump here and try and hold up some counter magic. Slash our own Emperor. Zergo and Ojitai. So we can try countering. But they might have their own counterspell. Counter Wars. No, okay. But they do have the second one. On the bright side, that makes them tap out.
Strike fast and strike hard.
We chump. Putting in work even for an Urza meld. Nice. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the Dimir artifacts sounds interesting. It's... I don't think it's my style, but it seems like one I can understand why you're going, ooh. I think this will do things. So we could try and Farewell to also hit their Celestus. That would leave us with enough for an Emperor. But yeah, just, I don't know, man, we don't have an answer to their Emperor right now other than playing our own, but for free just by tapping one mana creature. Hell yeah. Yeah, I think we exile all artifacts and creatures. And then we try playing our own Wandering Emperor while they are tapped out. Make a 2/2. They will Zurgo and Ojitai. Yep. Angel deck that just conceded after he realized I keep looping my Sunfall's Farewell Sun. Oh yeah. Yeah. I do like the black-white life gain deck that has cropped up in Standard. I would like to mess around with it a bit, but I think it's good against some of the other aggro decks, and I think it's very bad against the control things that are running around. Yeah. Yee. Because, like, as good as... I think as good as Voice of the Blessed is, so many of the board wipes in this meta right now are Exile, which is really rough, and I think that's my biggest pet peeve, is that aggro is just getting really, really rumbled. I think in no small part because so much of the removal, so many of the sweepers are exile based, which bothers me, because if you play a pure aggro plan, everything getting destroyed is still going to be very bad for you, but you can't be counting on value out of your evangels and whatnot. Yeah. Or be doing something more tempo-y, right? Doing stuff like the Simic Artifacts deck has a little bit of counter magic and whatnot. Or Toxic has both the pop-off potential. It feels almost more like a burn deck, and you're also able to like phase out all of your creatures. Yep, exactly. No more Thundering Raijus. Forge is something that I've been wanting to play around with. I still don't know, like, what to pair it with, but, I mean, doing Forge plus, like, some Brotherhood's Ends and whatnot, I could see some sort of Anvil deck, because a lot of, like, Farewell seems to have fallen a little bit out of favor because of Sunfall. It's typically only, like, a one-off, and Get Lost only hits enchantments, it doesn't hit artifacts. Mondrak decks running Forge? Yeah, I can see that. Double up them tokens. Yep. That seems kind of fun. Trying to think of... I did run into the Insidious Roots deck the other day. I was so excited for that card when it came out. And I think it's good, except Temporary Lockdown rumbles it. Like, it's a graveyard deck that isn't completely hosed by graveyard hate, because it can still get some value out of you exiling their yard, but man, it just... Temporary Lockdown hits pretty much everything in it, because everything's 2 or less. Doing Doppelgang deck, all you do is make a bunch of Forges and War Leaders. Yeah, that is one of the things I was thinking about trying to do with Doppelgang. Yep. But honestly, I've just been having a lot of fun with Doppelgang crashing the game, essentially. Is still that's still a pretty good way of making it work. But yeah, War Leader's Call, I was thinking about. I hadn't thought about doing it with Forge, but with Forge would be pretty fun. Oh no, it's still fun even after the Sylex, because you just run like the Sky Turtles, and then you just loop it into Oblivion. So we can hit their... I mean, we're just dead here, right? Because we don't have any answer for their Ojitai. We can pull a counterspell, but it's not a hard counter. So we can Fateful Absence, get rid of the... counter the channel ability from the Turtle Shigeki. Yes. I think people don't know about stifles these days. I do, at some point I would I've already committed more of my wild cards to putting together any sort of blue-white control than than I'm comfortable with, but at some point I should craft a couple of, the Hero of Dominaria Teferis and a couple of Lotus Fields, and try doing the Lotus Field control version of this and, like, Explorer. It seems miserable. But I don't know, I enjoy the interactions of basically stifling your own lands so that you can be super up on mana. Especially when you do it with something like a Hushbringer, so that it sticks around and is also hating out some of what your opponent's doing. Mandip. Okay. But yeah, I don't know, like, the match that we just had, that was, I don't know, 15 minutes, and felt... It's so hard to tell where you're at in it, but I think I had lost pretty early on because of... They got to be more proactive with their planeswalkers, because they had the counter magic and didn't miss land drops. I like being proactive. I don't like how reactive these decks are. I like being able to do stuff on the opponent's turn, but I want to be doing stuff on their turn, not just, oh yes, I look for more things that let me draw more cards. I think we mulligan. We don't have as many guaranteed land drops as we'd like. Here, I think we do keep it, and we might actually ditch the Sunfall, since we've got more things that fill that role, and I'd like to keep the ability to draw into it. Dun dun dun. I did really like, I don't know if it's a good way of conveying some of my personality as a Magic player. Back when Naya Runes was a thing, I was playing green-white enchantments with Hallowed Haunting. Like, that's... I like things that play to the board and accrue value. So, sweepers and things like that are kind of the antithesis of what I enjoy doing in Magic. I can enjoy bursty stuff like runes, but I am a big fan of making things happen over time and just outvaluing opponents. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, also, so pet peeve. This is not to be a I'm actually pushing up my glasses, but I see you correcting the doppelgang. It bothers me so much because the card isn't spelled PLE, it's PEL, which is a valid spelling of it, but it's not the one that I'm used to. And it's just it gets me every time because I want to do PLE. Yeah, it's just like, oh, what? That's how it should be spelled. I feel that's what I'm saying. Oh yeah, no, it's not a criticism. It's more just it bothers me that the card isn't even that spelling. It's just like, no, it's supposed to be PLE, not PEL. And it screws me up every time I search for it because I always want to put punch in the PLE rather than PEL. And I'm like, just please. I'm sure that DOPP is fine, but haha. I fooled you by not having a Wrath. Sure, we pitch the land. They play an Imdane's Recruiter, we counter it. If they don't, we need to dig for a Wrath. Oh no, they don't even have a Dwayne. They're petless. Can I donate my rock? We can survive that for now. That is a recruiter. We do not survive a recruiter. Recruiter, go bye-bye. Yep, and that's... I'm sure that's why they spelled it that way. It's just, I have always seen it Americanized the other way, so I just... my brain short circuits. Alright. Boros got us. Alright, let's do one more match with this, and then switch on over to Domain. Because, yeah, it's... I don't remember exactly what the Doppel means, but I know, because, like, Doppelsoldner, I know that's spelled with the P-E-L, and L-E isn't super common in German. Doppel. Well, okay, that's... Thank you, Wiktionary, for giving me a, like... not the German definition. Double. Oh, duh. Yup. Sometimes I forget that English is a Germanic language, and it's probably as simple as it seems to be. But yeah, so that would also explain Doppelsoldner. We would love another white source so we can actually use these Emperors, but... Well, hey, up against Dimir. I suspect a different type of Dimir. No Jace. No Jace for you. Okay, well, we get to continue to be very reactive. Really, really reactive. We could... I don't know what the counterspell suite is for these decks. We could try running out Teferi. But I think we just hold up Devious Cover-Up. We'd rather deny them doing things, I guess. Outrageous Robbery for 2. Yeah. That seems to be, yeah, the soft counters more for the tempo plays. I think... Yeah, I think we... Splice? Okay. Yeah, I think we countered the Outrageous Robbery. Okay. So this still could very easily be like a Make Disappear, but... not doing anything else. Yeah, if he's playing Celestus. God. Or do I just hold... Yeah, that's kind of my big thing, so I think what I actually do is I hold off, and then I can Field of Ruin, like Sunken Citadel, grab a white source, and then Emperor. Don't Tishana me, bro. Aha! Path of Peril. Because, yeah, we can't cut black or blue, but at least we can get rid of the, like... Sound like a hot take? Okay. Interesting. How so? There are a fair number of them. But, I don't know. I find that there's, like, the important ones are usually, like, Flesh Gorger. And that's kind of fallen out of favor a fair bit. True. Not being able to hit the tokens when you're desperate is definitely a big thing.
Nice to see a familiar face.
I think I would rather go for the throat than cast down in the current one, but play a deck where he pitches creatures to the graveyard and runs Masquerade. Ooh, and then like put on Murex tokens. Interesting. Haha, my one of Teferi, you ended it. Pokes you with tiny creatures so you block and he gets a 7-cost Gorger back for free. Nice. That's pretty sick. I think we try running it out on our turn, just so that we can hopefully stick it more likely.
We must protect the people.
The end is very interesting. It annoys me a bit. But I think it is a very good card. Doesn't work though, since I just stole his Gorger, paid the 7, attacked all in, and pinged it with Frenzy. Nice.
Show them how
Sits at
we
4
hate
life.
our enemies.
Yep. That's, I think, part of why I've been enjoying the, oh, we can't even counter, for shame. I've been enjoying, domain ramp, because I think it's one of the few things that's able to actually, like, slam down a big thing and be okay doing so. Because there's so many decks nowadays that, yeah, it's just sweepers or counters, or they get to reanimate your big stuff, and it's just like, ugh. More power to you, but gosh darn it, let me play my big ridiculous spells. Let me be Timmy. Okay, going digging. We would love to hit Farewell so that we can get rid of their Realm Breaker. We'll try the big Deluge. Aha! We can go into 2 more Deluges. I think we actually take 1 Deluge and then we take another land just to be building that up more, especially since I think a lot of their counters are soft counters. Anchorage, not bad. Sure, we will get the Anchorage cooking, even though they can Field of Ruin it.
Let your blade do the talking.
And continue. Oh, what do you know? But haha, secretly, you've given us an untapped white source so that we could Emperor and No More Lies if needed. All part of my dastardly plan. Yup. Ah, they hit the Farewell. Yes, we can technically, like, shuffle it in, but... yeah, artifact payoffs are a lot tougher for this deck to deal with. Which, like, yeah, I've considered doing, like, a one of Tidebinder in the main, or, like, one of Kutzeel's Flanker for dealing with some of the, like, graveyard stuff, but I think Farewell fits in a little bit better for dealing with both as, like, a one-off, but because it still fits the rest of our game plan relatively well. Okay, I think we will attempt to Deluge here. March is nice. March can actually deal with an artifact, so that's good. And then we get a Wandering Emperor. And I think we try So the Emperor dies. We could march it, but we want to use that on Realm Breakers, so instead we will do a try for Emperor number 2 and see if we can exile that.
Finally, I'm home.
Do. Okay.
You're done.
Yes, you are done. Their own deduce. Oh no. They should take the march. Yeah. Damn. 'Cause I do not have a lot of marches. I think that's the only one that I actually have mainboard. But so maybe that's why it's like, oh, you know, get lost and the one that makes them investigate. Close. But no, that is significantly different. But again, I don't play a lot of decks that run it, so. But that is something I will consider for when I'm evaluating how good this deck actually is that I am definitely running fewer than I probably should.
I have got new moves to teach you.
And the turn. Yeah, I mean, Wandering Emperor is pretty much... I guess I do have the, like, one of Horned Lock... I need to stop saying card names because they're going to end up getting milled. It's like, I've got the one of Horned Lockwhale as another clock that I've technically got, but no, so I'm down to just trying to race Realm Breaker with Wandering Emperors, and I think that's a losing proposition. Against a deck that has, you know, Path of Peril and whatnot. And the end. I do think a deck that, like, goes all in on the end and devious or deadly cover-up and just tries to fully strip... Okay, okay. I have some respect for this. I have some annoyance for it, but I do have some respect for it. Okay. They probably exiled the other Wandering Emperor, but let's try the Deluge. We can do a Devious Cover-Up. And... ooh. Restless Anchorage. They do have another Field of Ruin. They have my Field of Ruin, which hurts. Let's grab another Memory Deluge. So now, at the very least, they can't strip Deluge away from us, but I imagine Wandering Emperor gets taken. Oh no, they went for March. Haha! Look at me, playing one-offs. What I think is funniest about that is they already got to look through my deck with the ends, so they didn't actually pay attention to how many copies I was running that time. Which, like, I can't blame them, but I still find it funny.
Guards, to me.
Okay. We continue ever onward. But yeah, so like here, now that all of my answers for that are gone, I'm stuck just sort of chipping in with 2/2s and hoping for the best when... you know, like with Domain or whatnot, I'm like, oh, you know, maybe I can pull in a Trax or whatnot. There's options, there's hope. This is just a grind. So I guess I could... I could Otawara Realmbreaker and then try and counter it with Devious Cover-Up. I guess that's technically a solution. I'm sure they've got more than one copy, but... Yep. I do love Realmbreaker in principle, because it helps you hit land drops, which is very important in a control deck. Doesn't make it any less demoralizing to play against. I do like Devious Cover-Up as a way to cycle stuff back into your deck and still have a hope of drawing it. Ooh, okay. Well, I think we need to, before they take another piece of ours. No More Lies is a little tough. I think we try and get the Farewell back. Otawara can help. And... actually, yeah, I think we do try and get one No More Lies back. Unfortunately, if they have a counterspell, we don't have quite enough to also No More Lies it. So they can just replay Realmbreaker. Yep. But we could not afford them. Could not afford the other deadly cover-up. Okay, Restless Anchorage. I think we do a main phase Deluge. See what we can see. Ah, another Otawara. Okay. And... do we get second Deluge, or do we get No More Lies? I think... Deluge, because we really want to try and dig for another setup to try and take down the Realmbreaker. Helps us dig for Farewell and whatnot. You know, we could actually, while they're still tapped down, yeah, let's try a second Deluge. Because we've only got one No More Lies in hand. Deduce and Murex, I think. Mostly nerve-wracking because they might end up milling the pieces again. Okay. Not bad. We can survive that. God, this match has been 9 minutes. I don't have the attention span for this deck. Like, I don't know. I can understand why this is a strategy that people can enjoy, even if it's very much not my speed. There's a lot of decision making, it feels very powerful, you're getting to do like big swingy things. Duress. Okay. Because yeah, we don't actually get to counter that, we just tax their mana. And not enough to prevent them from doing a Realmbreaker activation, so it is what it is. But yeah, like, there are a lot of interesting decisions to be had. The, you know, whether or not you're playing it on your turn versus their turn, the trying to figure out, interesting, deduce is what they took. You know, it's something where there's difficulty in trying to predict what the opponent's doing. There's a lot of versatility, there's a lot of different strategies that you can pivot to be able to fight against. So, like, I get it. It just... it gets my goat when... the plan doesn't feel like you're trying to play Magic, it feels like you're trying to prevent your opponent from playing Magic and then just slowly do stuff. Which is a form of Magic. It just... on the opposite end of it, I find it much more annoying than... you know, I've been run over by Boros a couple of times with this. And that's okay. I don't mind that awfully much. We will take this up. I don't think we try and fire up the Restless Anchorage because they do have double
Remember
field.
your training.
Okay. Think we try another main phase Deluge. Ooh, okay. Farewell can hit their artifacts, and Deadly Cover-Up can help protect it, and help us cycle some stuff back in to counteract the milling. Okay, that was a very good hit. So here we can activate Mirex and then... Oh, actually, we might be out of basics, so we might not be holding up No More Lies. Yep, whoops. Forgot about that. I do run a lot of basics, but we've also had a lot of things let us go search for them. But, I don't know, I think I often see a lot of, like, debates of, like, oh, aggro is brainless, control is unfun. I wish more people would just play the strategies that aren't their favorite, and get a feel for it. See what the other person is seeing on the other side of the table. You know, I think there's a lot to be learned from it. Why can't we all just be friends? Okay. Yep. That happens. Yeah. And that's, like, even Boros Convoke. There are a lot of decisions, even if it is something where you're just sort of dumping. There's a lot of, what am I willing to throw at the opponent? You know, is this enough damage that I think I can push through stuff later? Is it something where I do need to slow roll this because I'm pretty sure they will have something coming down the pipeline, etc., etc. Most widely available, easily accessed, so you have Timmies who have room temperature IQ and use every spell base and not win the board. Make way for the creatures to go through. Yep. It's, yeah, there's a lot more new budget players playing it. So I can understand that, and I think there's also a lot of people who build into control still relatively early on because they go, oh, I can say no to stuff and just jam board wipes. Yeah, it's, I mean, everything has its place, everything has its problems. I think we only hit artifacts here. And they are all valid ways to play Magic, even if we sometimes shake our fist like a grumpy old codger at them. Aw, that's rough. I like it when my opponents actually get to play Magic. Just not drawing lands. Just never drew his land.
We must protect the people.
Dun, dun, dun. Ooh, ouch. Dun dun dun. March of Wretched Sorrow. Well, surely has some deck loopage, or it's game over. So I think we try No More Liesing this. Yep. It was like, it's either that or the devious cover-up so that I can loop things a bit. What do you exile? Good question. Go for the throat. Makes sense. It's like, I've got the devious cover-up. I'm definitely low in library. Like, yeah. They can manage to just wait us out, but we can also, like, devious cover up our own stuff. Oh, okay.
Surrender your mind to Phyrexian.
So, what we do here,
Your victory shatter your
we aren't, no, because, oh shoot, no! I was trying to get full control because we could have, oh no! I'm so annoyed. I need to get full control because that wasn't a loss. Yeah, because I could have quick studied and then devious cover up, but because it doesn't default to full control and I was too slow on the uptake, because yeah, I could have countered my own thing. Oh. That's annoying. So, I think that was a totally winnable game if I had managed, but such is life. It happens. Oh. Well, that's true, but I think we had enough. We still had like deluges and what in the yard, um, and could have shuffled back in the other cover up. Like I think we were fine. But yeah, that's fair. We don't know, right? But it's bothersome that we didn't get to find out. I did have that happen at one point with an incinerator of the guilty in draft, where I was just a bit too slow on hitting full control for using banned answers to pitch something into the yard so that I could collect evidence, but need to work on that. But let's switch over to some domain. I'm done with that control nonsense. No, I will definitely revisit that a bit, but even turn on full control. The game rolled my ass and had me pass out in interaction when I had mana up. I've got it set up, I think it's control, like left control is toggle for me. But you can check gameplay. Full control is control, but crash. Hold full control is shift control, so that's rather than a toggle, it's for like just hanging on to it. But as I found out the hard way with the incinerator of the guilty, when you do that, it only does it for the phase, so as soon as you pass, you're no longer in full control. So be mindful. This is not fantastic, but we've got our land drops, sure. As long as it's not aggro, I found that you can be, the mulligans in this deck can be kind of forgiving with being slow. That is honest, that's very possible. But like, we'll have drawn other things by then, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I mean, who needs the second white for most of our deck? The Dark Slick Shores? Could be. Well, that is indeed Tishana's Tidebinder mana, so let's find out. Spin that wheel. No, it's something. Make disappear. Okay. Well, now we just wait. Doop, 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 doop. Yeah, not quite as good. It is. Especially because it leaves something around and it's just sitting there mocking me. We might just Boseiju. I think we Boseiju the Mirex. I know Boseiju isn't like necessarily the best inclusion when we're trying to get our domain count up, but we usually hit it reliably, and having a land that also he gets to ramp, see if he pops up. He doesn't ramp. What's he gonna do? Cut down my empty board? Ah, second Mirex. It does. But I think 2-color, you're typically fine sneaking at least one in. Okay, so here we can not get Tidebindered. Okay. Grab the white source. And we won't run out Archangel this turn, but soon we can. I hate spending mythics on lands, but I might try and make some more Cavern of Souls for this deck, because being able to do the Sunfall, or Archangel and Atraxa uncounterable is nice. Who even runs to Shauna besides you in best of 1? Well, in fairness, this is best of 3 now. The thing is, I will say, when I was up in like 800 Mythic with Boros Convoke, there were a lot of Tishana's countering like my Evangels and whatnot. So it happens, but I think it is a high IQ thing. Only the biggest of brains. Deep Cavern Bat. I think we just kind of let them take whatever. And Immodane's make it hurt. I have, and that's why I've actually put Immodane's Recruiter in this. Yep. I haven't seen that second part, but that's pretty sweet. Like, if your opponent... What do you take here? I mean, it probably depends on what you have in hand. They take the Leyline Binding. Yeah. Because, like, here... I think... So, Archangel we can only kick it once. So I feel like they probably run, like, Negate or Dissipate or something, but let's try Sunfall number 1. Okay. I figured. But that one also does hit the Archangel, and then we're only hitting one thing with it, so... Okay. I think we just try Sweeper number 2. I'm guessing it gets countered again, but... They didn't... Because of your gosh darn giant portal. Dun dun dun. Yes, it is. I can't imagine they'd have another counterspell in hand after this. That would be ludicrous. I mean, they've already played 2. Oh, they've played 3! Why would anyone ever play more than 3 counterspells in a deck? They're bad, you know? If your opponent just doesn't play spells, they don't do anything. Yup. Which is why I would love if we could... I think I do try... I'm gonna try the Archangel. See if we can dodge one of the counterspell types. Okay. I think we do hit the bat. Yep. As I was fully expecting that to get countered, but I figured there was a slightly higher chance of it sticking around. We could have taken out one of the mites, and they might just remove this and we die, but... Actually, yeah, that would have been smarter, because that kind of guarantees us living a turn. Yeah. Yep. I was kind of counting on it sticking around. I think we lose that game even if we hit a mite, because we weren't getting ahead, but... Okay. So, up against what we saw, I definitely like going down on our big slow spells. In come the negates. Tidebinder and a bat can be cute. Just a little. I think Long Goodbye is probably decent, since hard to counter. Is there anything else that we want to cut? Like, Virtue might be bad, but I like having one of... Probably hits Wandering Emperors. I think we try running it like this. I don't see a lot of domain decks running Wandering Emperor, which is part of why I love being able to side it in. Because I don't know, sometimes it gets hit because people bring in negates for the mirror, but it's been very funny people do not play around it. We will play up the beanstalk. Sure. Being very, very flip with the hands, because I still don't have a great handle on, like, what our ideal opener is, but... Like, we would love double green or double white. Aha. Virtued. Wonder if this is, like, just artifacts, or if they're trying to do the cheeky ninja plan. I imagine you take up the beanstalk here, so that I'm just not doing anything for sure next turn. Try and make me stumble. But I guess if you have, like, a counter light hand, you might take the Sunfall, just making sure that, yeah, makes sense. Da -da -da. Underground River. Not quite as good as Underground Sea. People complain about power creep. Now your Underground Sea deals 1 damage to you. Okay, let's grab a white and a green. Ba-ba-bum. Could Virtue of Persistence back their Siren eventually? Now that's what I call gaming. Lily, make us discard.
Those who get in my way tend to regret it. We all have things we'd rather forget.
I think we actually ditched the garden for now. Shouldred. Okay. Stomper, grab a mountain. We have full domain. Yay! So they're going to make us discard again. Do we keep the Sunfall? Or do we try and keep building up mana? I think we want to keep the Sunfall and try and slam it. Virtue of Knowledge? Maybe. I like big panharmonicons. Oh, interesting.
Sacrifices must be made.
Fair enough. Kill our stompy boy. Okay. Let's try cycling this. Because I don't think whatever we play is actually going to get to stick. Ooh, spelunking. The Atraxa is good, but 100% gets countered. And or Lilianid. That would hurt. And now, so they can uptake discard, which makes us lose an Atraxa, which would suck, but I think we try to Sunfall. Hopefully bait out a counter so that we can Virtue and pull back Atraxa. That's my thought. And if they let it resolve, we get the Up the Beanstalk back, which can get discarded to Lily. Okay, made it disappear. Yep. LinkedIn. The much more annoying version of LinkedIn, which is saying something.
You won't be outsmarting me.
Yeah, take my Atraxa. They didn't tap out. Well, Sunfall attempt number 2. Because, like, Virtue can actually get us back in this game, so I'd rather try. Okay. Well, we'll play up the Beanstalk. They'll get to hit whatever we draw, but... I would really love to, like, draw a Negate to go with the Virtue of Persistence at some point, so that we can counter a counterspell, but... Yep, get rid of the Topiary Stomper. Creature of the Schism. Hey, up the Beanstalk, number 2. See if we draw anything interesting. Because I'm confident that they have more counters. Even though they let the one Sunfall resolve. Ooh, nice Tidebinder. Yeah, don't know. It seems more mid-rangey. Well, we can make a 1/1 that simply dies, so we will pass. Yup. Well, we might just have to try slamming the Virtue next turn. Oh, we can get around 1, make the Spear. We do get to draw cards. Oh, because the enchantments don't. Yep. Urtai, nice. Totally fair. But we do get to draw 3 cards, which is not too bad. Atraxa, Stomper, Archangel. Could certainly do worse. Okay, I think we discard the Stomper.
We all have things we
Yeah, that would hurt. Oh, so, okay, Urtai can also Stifle. Interesting. I think we'll probably try to Archangel rather than Atraxa next turn. Because I think the life gain and just wiping 2 of their creatures is going to be beneficial. We could Chump. No, a Binding. So we take 10 here, but I think I like it. We do that. We flip this end of turn. Ooh, long goodbye. Not bad. We play Archangel. We kicker. We kill both of these. And then we can long goodbye the Reef if they fire it up again. We've gained some life. They can't counter that. Yeah.
You're gonna regret
It's like, it will suck if they tick up and we have to pitch the Atraxa, but... They're making us sacrifice a creature? Okay. Are they going to edict us?
Off you go.
Okay. That was Dees. I think we run it back like that. Oh no, I think Gix can be a pretty good engine. It's one of those things where Gix is really good for getting a boot on someone's throat, whereas Arena is better if you're going for a more like sit back and more of a control plan. Also, I just think that Gix plus Shieldred is hilarious. Yeah. Oh, Roaming Throne Praetor deck? Ooh. Good? Probably not. Fun? Yeah. Who needs more than 2 spells in a game? Well, we start with the garden, or whatever has a white source, so that you can theoretically turn to Leyline Binding, I think. Bat, probably take long goodbye. Yep. Proving ground, so that we can hopefully try and stomp her next turn. Ooh. I have tried to make fight rigging work a little bit. It's tough. Just you've got the 6-power things, but they don't curve well. Which is very annoying. I did enjoy, I saw Legend VD put together a, like, red-black, sort of burn by sacking the Bone Brute, which has been kind of fun to mess around with. Sultai, Roaming Throne, and Run Obliterator? Yeah. True. Which is sick. But works pretty much only against Boros tokens and mono red. No one else is running things that deal damage. Alright. Well, we will cycle a garden, I guess. We can turn it into a Topiary Stomper. Roaming Throne? It's triggered ability, right? Triggered ability, yep. That would work. Yeah, Valet can be fun. I actually ran Valet in the disguise flip up Yaris thing that I was messing around with. It's just it doesn't work the way you want. The Valet was fine. The overall deck doesn't work the way that I wanted it to by a significant margin. Which counterspell do you think this one's gonna be? Yep. On Archangel? If it's the negate, I'll be happy. Disdainful Stroke. That'll do it. Only got creatures in hand, but man, I would love a negate. Yes. Stroke is good against, like, I guess not exclusively, but mostly the domain deck. Because there's not a lot of space for mid-range in the current meta. Nope, hit the Atraxa. Damn. Hey, we can cycle another land! Let's go! Yes, they do. Oh, haha, joke's on you. Now we have the negate. Bat vendor. Scary concept. So, would you like some bats? And now, Topiary Stomper? Hit me for 4. You gonna do it? You know you can do it, opponent. Kill me! So, I sell you 3 bats, and then if you can go find 3 other people to sell 3 bats to, I can supply that and da-da-da-da-da. Multi-level marketing. Because he sucks. Ha ha ha. I do love that, like, most famous vampire is a name that someone was just like, oh, that's a really cool name from, you know, I get what, it's part of Romania now, but it was, why can't I remember? Wallachia, there we go. Alucard? Mm-hmm, definitely. But I mean, because if I remember correctly, like, Dracula literally just means, like, son of the dragon, which is also just, like, rad, but then we're like, it will be vampire, haha. It's like, okay, sure. Vampire. Oh, Dracula as a vampire dragon would be so much cooler. Why is Alucard a vampire, friends? Napster devil. Dude. What a hand. There we go. Yup, the most clever writing technique that's ever been done. I think we probably don't Imidane. Hello, friends. Oh, I had some sort of cogent thought. No! Don't take our beanstalk. We want value. Oh, why are you looking at the beanstalk? That's the right choice. Might be. I suspect it's probably going to be more of the, like, control, running, like, Atalis and discovering stuff. Yeah, mid-range is what I figure. No, that's... I really enjoyed the, ooh. I think we binding in response to the trigger because we really want to be able to Topiary Stomper. Even if that sucks. Do. I think I'm gonna grab a black source. Trying to remember the name of the series. Inti, okay. Well, we will pass and take our beats. They're on 2 lands, which is interesting. It's the one that, where, you said Alucard, I was thinking, Castlevania, there we go, the Castlevania animated series. I enjoyed, but one of my biggest issues with it was they were talking about, how, like, the aversion to crosses was because of, like, geometric shapes and, oh, meant for Helsing? Yes, that too. Helsing is pretty sick, pretty sweet. But no, my main thing was there are a lot of vampires in the Castlevania one that are using like European-style Crusader swords, which have a cross on the hilt, which had religious symbolic imagery that was meant to be reminiscent of, it was meant to be a cross. It was meant to be like a holy symbol. So the fact that vampires are using it, even if it's just like a geometric shape, the fact that they aren't just like stunning themselves every time they draw their sword, it's a small nitpick, but one that has given me a lot of thoughts. Okay. I don't think we binding the bat for Sunfall. So, A, in the series, they don't say it does, but B, like, it's still... again, the symbol of a sword has a lot of, like, symbolic, meaning, right? Like, the reason why you build a sword with a crossguard in that fashion, swords are already fairly inefficient tools. The reason to make them in the shape of a cross, rather than, like, I don't know, basket hilt or any number of other things, the particular cross shape was more decorative than functional. You can use it for, like, it prevents a sword from hitting your hand, but it's better to deflect than grab most of the time. They wanted brownie points. This is fair. But yeah, it's I don't know. So it's like I overall like the show, but the part of me that's like, but there's a reason it's chivalric. It doesn't make sense for vampires to have them. Gets going every time. But it kind of makes me, I would love to write like a short story about like a reporter doing investigations into I think it would be fun to do a story of like a investigative journalist looking into like gun lobbies in the US and finding out that their roots trace back to like some of these areas that have been associated with vampires, and it turns out that they were doing that in an attempt to phase out swords because they were so deeply problematic as religious symbols or something. It would be more wild if the weaponry was wholly imbued. How aren't you vaporized? Yeah. How are you even touching that? Oh. Okay, go for the throat, so they get to hit in, draw a card. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's a design space that I find interesting and hope gets explored at some point. Holding a whole new weapon, quite a conundrum. Yup. Yeah, like, I think they would make a big deal out of it if, like, one of them was holding, like, an, incense, oh, what are they called? The incense burners on a chain, which have, apparently, in some of the lovely historical instances of, clerical brawls, shall I say, times when people were perhaps being a bit uppity while being members of the church over holy sites, apparently have been swung like flails, which I find a hilarious mental image. Like, if they had a vampire holding one of those, that would be a thing they'd be talking about. So, if they're the mid-range deck, Tidebinder might actually be kind of decent against it. I wouldn't mind another to populate, and probably Wandering Emperors are decent. If they are running Breach, Flanker could be decent, but I think I cut one up the beanstalk and we bring in like 2 Emperors. I'm gonna try it like that. I don't know. I don't sideboard a whole lot. It's not a thing that I've done much of, but I wonder if, like, my inclination is to cut Herd Migration most of the time because I think it's one of the easiest things for people to hit with counterspells. But it's sideboarding is an art that I am very far from mastering. I also need to get I'm so used to every game. I always like to say hello and do the little Tamio wave because I feel it's polite. But need to get out of the habit for doing that for the game too, because we've already greeted. I should also say, looking at the time, this will probably be my last match, so either we win this game or we lose this and play one more, but we'll find. We'll find out. Find? Okay. I think we mulligan. We are on the draw, but I think there's a decent chance that gets countered. Here we will keep it, and I think we ditch one of our planes. Oh, see, and that's instantly I try and hit hello. Howdy, Cholera. How's it going? I know, I'm sorry. There's no Dwayne today. There was Dwayne earlier with... I know. As actually, I probably shouldn't be running Dwayne with this. I did have Dwayne earlier when I was doing the blue-white control. So don't worry, Dwayne did get representation. This one I just threw together and I wasn't caring that much about the aesthetics of. Phyrexian, okay, for Gix. How's it going, Cholera? We might binding the Gix, even though we're hoping to Sunfall soon. Oh no! That is not a good time. I would even hazard to say perhaps that is a bad time. Well, you know, just hang out with Topiary Stomper. It's made out of plant and therefore high in fiber. We have 4 Sunfalls in hand. Oh dear. Okay. Damn, we should have waited for the bat. It's like, oh, we should do... No, we wait for the bat so that we can save the Topiary Stomper. That was silly. Glad to hear it. I assume they take Topiary Stomper, so that we just can't play our other stuff. Really? Interesting. It's not good? Okay, well, we get to run out the Stomper, so we get to grab another land. Grab a Black Source. So that we can potentially do more with the... actually, I guess we don't have an imminent Archangel. We would love to draw a land for Sunfall, but we will still depopulate. Okay. Now we just need lands. An opponent is not allowed to stick anything for a very long time. Okay. This could be bad. This will hurt. I think we run out an Archangel just to stay alive? Oop, oop. That seems correct. And I wish you much luck with that. Okay. So, this puts us in a very tough spot because we actually can't play the Sunfall. Because we will draw a card and that will kill us. So, we Archangel. We gain 2. We hope to block the Sholdred and get enough life. I love the value of Up the Beanstalk, but I've seen times where people mill themselves out with it. I've seen situations like this where against Shouldred, it kind of stacks up a little bit poorly. Because even with this, we still can't actually play the Sunfall. And even so, yeah, even then it doesn't. Yep, we are just dead. Oh, nice. So you get the Panharmonicon. Alright. On to game 3. I won't have time after today because I'm already running a little late and need to grab food, but I would love to see it, especially if you post in the Discord. I can take a look and we can try and find some time. Might have some time tomorrow. Yeah, I think we keep this. Okay. Yeah, and I'll try and find some time tomorrow. Just now that I'm trying to start at 10, my turnaround is a little bit tighter, and it's all I'm gonna have like about 30 minutes to actually get the food ready, and then another half hour to eat. Sure. As we can do early binding. Okay, opponent is mulling a lot. Still not sure. I might be trying to cook up some ground beef and do like some nachos. We took our early interaction. Sad. Though I've got some barbecue sauce left over, I might want to like mix that up with some rice. Not exactly what I would call traditional fried rice, but barbecue sauce works surprisingly well with rice, in my opinion. Ulebrod? Oh, I feel like you've talked about that. I'm not remembering what it is. Let's go red. Ah, now they hit the Archangel. That would have been so good. Ah. That's still gonna be so good. Archangel, kill a bat to get another Archangel. Okay, the sacrificey guy. I thought I had the name in mind, but when Bloomborough hits, that seems about right, because so we get a set this month in April, and then another. I think it's September is when it rotates, which that sounds like it's in the Bloomborough times, but I am not confident. Bam and bam. Other Oh, sort of a sourdough porridge. Interesting. MTG Standard Rotation 2024. Guess here we spelunk. Aha, and Stomper lets us turn on our other Stomper. Grab another white source. Send in with the team. Third quarter of 2024. So, yes, I think that Bloomborough is Q3. I think it's Midnight Hunt. Standard. Oh, do. So the sets that will leave standard in next rotation are the 2 Innistrads, Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, and Streets of New Capenna. So, yep. Oh, darn. So, yeah. No, because, like, Streets of New Capenna is the only one that I had rare complete, aside from now having MKM. Children won't be gone? Yeah. Children's gonna stick around, but we're getting more and more ways of dealing with Children. There's a number of Outlaws of Thunder Junction cards that I looked at that I'm like, these are gonna stack up pretty well against Shelly, so I wouldn't be too upset. That's, there's different ways of healing standard, and I don't know, I haven't seen as many Children decks running around. Part of that's probably just because there's way too many people playing the World Souls Rage combo deck right now, but I think overall the meta is relatively healthy. There's a fair bit of variety, so I'm enjoying it. Like all the 5 damage Zod spell red gets. Yep. Need things that are the equivalent of Unholy Heat for prime time in Pioneer. And I don't remember if red is getting more of those, but I would be unsurprised. I need to go through and actually like collect my thoughts on spoilers, but I don't think Sheoldred is going away, but I think Sheoldred is going to become a lot more manageable. Yeah, I think it will be fine, and I look forward to Bloomborough. I'm looking forward to Outlaws of Thunder Junction coming up pretty soon. I need to get just enough gold so I can run a draft and hopefully get the Mastery Pass, since we're at, 82? That's good value at this point, but we will see. However, for now, I need to go and make some food, so that you don't hear my stomach rumbling on the afternoon stream. Black is still the best color to deal with Sheoldred? Yup. Lots of good removal, lots of good single target removal. But I'm going to sign off for now for Magic. Thank you for popping in. I appreciate it, as always. If I do not see you again later this afternoon, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. But for now, bye.